With Halloween fast approaching, there's no better time to start believing in ghosts and aliens, except nowadays the ghosts want your weenie and the aliens have weird dicks. DanDaDan is the new hype shonen everyone is talking about, and while I found the manga itself to be an enjoyable experience, its anime adaptation is in a league all its own, as it has the miracle of being adapted by the top-tier Studio Saru, founded by the one and only Masaki Yuasa, the same guy who gave us this. While they're one of the best studios to ever do it, they tend to only adapt original projects rather than shonen manga. But wishes do come true, and it means that DanDaDan is now about to become the next Demon Slayer in terms of popularity. So buckle up and prepare for a cinematic masterpiece the likes of which hasn't been seen since Parkour Civilization.
Tomorrow, you better not be late, or you'll be doing 2 block jumps as punishment.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I won't be late next time.
While I was watching the anime introduce us to our first main character, Momo, in a scene that perfectly displayed her spunk when she tells off her boyfriend for trying to only use her for money and, bananas. I couldn't help but be enamored by how much detail each scene possessed. Like when Momo explains that she was only dating the scumbag because he looked like her favorite celebrity, Ken Takakura, in the very next segment. And while that seems like just an innocuous and throwaway line, it actually revealed so much to me in just a single sentence. That she's a bit shallow and immature for only going for guys similar to her favorite actor, yet is also very mature for her age by knowing exactly what kind of person she wants. Because that means she in turn looks up to him and emulates his positive traits due to that admiration, something shown in the very next scene with her thug walk.
Hey, blow up.
It's also illustrated in her mannerisms, revealing to us, to me, that clearly who she idolizes is a good person because she steps in to stop some kid from getting bullied, reaffirming that she's confident in her beliefs, since those unsure of themselves would have likely turned a blind eye in fear of getting bullied too, and since emulating someone as an ideal is far easier than physically putting it into practice, it means that this isn't necessarily just an act that Momo puts on, but rather her genuine self that she presents to the world. And before you know it, the kid she just saved is now talking her ear off because, in reality, that was just a clever way to introduce our other main character, Okarun. It's me, your boy. He's a quirky little nerd whose actions speak louder than words, as his dialogue in this scene is mostly just nonsense talk about his hobby, but his body language reveals so much more. From the way he turns his back to Momo to symbolize nervousness, yet simultaneously represent and assert what little confidence he has, to how he uses his hobby as a talking point, both because she showed interest in it and because it's the only thing able to keep him focused and talking naturally around the pretty girl.
Santa's got a surprise for you.
As the scene plays out, Okarun slowly becomes a funny little guy to us, but an annoying little shit to Momo, and she rightfully brushes him off by saying something hurtful. But I was so connected to Momo at this point from the anime's simple, yet exhaustive efforts, that I knew she'd apologize and find common ground, which is brilliant narrative and visual storytelling because it intrinsically links the two leads to the audience so quickly that we're able to intimately understand that their personalities naturally led them to this point, rather than the writing forcing it because it's the plot of the show, which is like watching a great anime turn to shit in just one episode.
This doesn't make any sense at all.
The anime never includes something that doesn't serve a purpose, and it uses these small, interconnected segments to consistently set up its characters, while also pouring so much passion into the visual language of the show, adding something as simple as a short walking sequence for Momo to visually convey that she's apologetically awkward about what she said. And it's this attention to detail that sets it apart from many of its contemporaries, as it possesses substance behind its immense amount of style and amplifies the manga to the point that it feels like a mere blueprint for the anime. And the fact that they do it all in just 24 minutes is nothing short of awe-inspiring. Wait, it's only been 5 minutes?
Oh my god!
I was utterly floored when I realized so little time had passed, because never before have I watched an anime so densely packed with so many details in so little time, enabling me to experience so much with so little and only getting better as it went, assaulting every last one of my senses with the banging OST used throughout the show and the way the anime jumped at every opportunity to set the mood, like showing additional creepy visuals in the abandoned building and then using that environment as an opportunity to foreshadow the aliens, hiding them within debris to further drive home the horror movie vibe.
Did I just catch you having fun?
Balancing its different elements and setting the vibe is one of the things it does best, because while it gives you a disturbed horror feel at times, it also had me laughing my ass off for most of the show, because it loves to equalize everything out with goofy comedy, as the series is meant to be an uplifting, action-packed rom-com, yet despite that, it doesn't shy away from more brutal and serious developments in the narrative either, and the scene with Momo getting kidnapped by the aliens is a perfect example of this.
There's no way out of this one.
I'm your grandpa now. down!
The aliens themselves are innately goofy, but the actions they're performing are abhorrent, and while in the manga I felt as though the scene was just there for comedic fan service, the anime does a much better job at conveying the seriousness properly, with the tearing of her clothes looking like it's right out of a horror film rather than being gratuitously animated. And they opt to keep the BGM muted as well to add to the tension and maintain an air of seriousness, purposely making you uncomfortable despite the way they look and the things they say being so inherently silly, but never leaning too far into the laughs to ruin the scene until the second Okarun comes in to save the day, where the comedy then rightfully takes center stage and he bites off their dicks. It's all rather simple, but efficient, and while these details are often overlooked for more grandiose scenes, they're what really make the show for me and slowly build up over time to create something magical, alongside the engaging plot and lovable relationship between the two leads, as the smaller moments with Okarun and Momo getting to know each other are so precious that I had forgotten to do my literal job and take notes during episode 2, because I was that enamored by their cute chemistry together, which works as well as it does because of how well the writing, animation, and direction work in tandem to make them feel so real and relatable, like Momo and her different forms of love, as well as you subscribing to my Patreon. Her parents were never there for her, but her grandma was, and it's her love for how unique her grandma is that allows Momo to be so confident and independent. And while her love for Ken Takakura is more idolization than anything, it still gives her strong beliefs. However, it's her genuine love for Okarun that brings everything together and enables her to accept her grandma's teachings, push past her embarrassment, and ultimately awaken to her full abilities, with the cherry on top being that Okarun's real name is, in fact, Ken Takakura. The spaceship exploding once this is revealed perfectly represents just how much the anime makes this material its own, as unlike in the manga where it never happened, it explodes here to symbolize how shell-shocked she is for her newfound love, and that this information plus his earlier actions have quite literally rocked her world because she's finally found the one. And it's through this love that she was able to obtain power that helps achieve her ideals and no longer be tossed around by scumbags, with the anime clarifying what she means when she delivers the same kick to the alien that she did her ex. Because everything in this anime, no matter how seemingly inconsequential, always comes full circle, with Momo's friend group encapsulating this idea perfectly because they're gyarus, a subculture in Japan that represents breaking the Japanese social norms, breaking free from the group, and being yourself, which is exactly what Momo does. Just like you'll hit the subscribe button, right? While I could continue to go on and on about how great this anime is, down to how they even color code the different aspects of the show, with Ghost being red, aliens blue, and the psychic powers green, before then using those to creatively visually showcase the scales of who's winning while looking cool as shit, it should be clear by now that quite literally every facet of this anime is practically a 10 out of 10, with so much to break down that I cannot fit it in such a short YouTube video. It's stunning on every front and always leaves you satisfied with every episode, yet still craving more, cementing its place as a certifiable hood classic, and if it maintains this level of quality, a modern day masterpiece.